It's 1:50 a.m. I don't know if you guys can see that. And I feel like I have smoked with the biggest crack pipe that there is, okay? I've been tossing in bed, turning. Brain is going absolutely crazy. I just can't fall asleep. Now this weekend I ended up going to a festival, okay, like a music festival, because I thought I deserved it. You know, with this new lifestyle that I'm going after, like the lean look, being fit, being healthy, living a calculated, balanced lifestyle, a lifestyle where there's a lot more freedom, you can do certain things, but it's earned, right? You still need to earn that. Because last week was a super productive week. Okay, it was extremely productive. I hit all of my goals, all of my targets, super successful. So I thought, you know what, let me go party a little bit. I haven't gone to a festival in ages, and I love a good festival, let me tell you. So I ended up going to a festival this weekend, and of course, okay, that could be obviously a big reason why I've been tossing and turning, not being able to fall asleep, because my sleep schedule is completely messed up. My voice is gone from the dust, from obviously the shouting, the singing, all that type of stuff. It was good. It was good. I ended up going to bed at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Last night, I got about an hour's worth of sleep just because we were drinking. You know, the music's pumping, you can't sleep. You're sleeping in a tent, it's super uncomfortable. So I arrived home. I told myself, okay, I'm going to go to sleep at 8 o'clock. And I never sleep at 8 o'clock. But I think I was in bed at like 7:45. So I fell asleep nicely. Then something woke me up. And when I woke up, I'm so excited for next week to come. And this is crazy, and I'll tell you why now. So I've got all of these ideas just like flowing through my head, okay? I've got things like, okay, I'm going to set up new structures, I'm going to set up new systems. Like, I'm super pumped to go into next week. But as I'm lying here, I'm like thinking, why can't I just switch this off, right? Why can't I just go to sleep? And you know what the biggest reason for that? That's ambition. Okay, people who are entrepreneurs, you know, if any of you guys run a business, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Any single one of you that set yourselves to a certain standard will know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyone that sets goals. Because if you have a burning desire, right, it literally keeps you up at night. When you see yourself to be in a position that you're not fully satisfied in, you will work your ass off to get to that goal. Now, it was the exact same thing like with my physique change. I remember when I first started my transformation, right? It was years of continuously like wishing for change, being super unhappy. Then as soon as I finally made the decision, when I fully believed that I could make that change myself, it became a healthy obsession, right? Because it was an ambition. I saw myself, you know what, I'm going to reach this goal. I'm going to take myself to the next level. I'm going to take myself to my absolute best, to the best version of me. And I would research everything. I would try this. I would try that. And like, that's a lot of us. Like, a lot of the guys that I've coached, a lot of you guys that have reached out to me, I've been training for probably 5 years. Some of you guys even 10 years. And you aren't seeing the progress that you want, yet you continue to put in the work. That shows that you're ambitious. That shows that you want to take it to the next level. Most of the guys that I train in the program, right, with my coaching, are business owners, they're entrepreneurs. They continue to set new standards. They continue to go to the next level. And I've spoken to plenty of them, right? You have sleepless nights. You grinding, you working, you sacrifice a lot of things that other people don't necessarily understand. And that's a big thing to do with belief, but I'm going to get into that in a minute. So ambition is basically that burning desire. And, you know, it's so funny how when you set yourself to that certain type of standard, you will, like, it is so defeating if you don't reach it, right? But I'm going to show you something here real quick as well. Now, I just want you to understand, I've just mentioned a lot of things about, you know, if you're an entrepreneur, ambitious, every single man is ambitious, okay? Some just think some just like mask it in a humble way. Some guys are arrogant about it. But if you have testosterone, you have ambition. If you're a man, you have ambition. The only thing that I've noticed is a lot of guys haven't fully unlocked it yet, okay? And a lot of guys don't fully believe that they're ambitious, okay? And that is a mindset shift. And I'm going to give you a quick little example of this as well. So the other day I was sitting in the park, maybe like a month and a half ago, doing a bunch of work, and I had this guy come up. His name is Precious. He's from Malawi, okay? And here in Cape Town, the guys from Malawi, they work their asses off. Now he came up to me, I was like, oh fuck, okay, there's another guy begging for money. Because I'm going to tell you straight, I'm not a fan of beggars. Like, I'm not a fan. Like, I understand there's certain situations, there's certain scenarios, but if you are willing, you're able-bodied, okay? If you're willing to stand in a street in the burning sun for an entire day asking other people for money, why can't you go scrub a toilet? Why can't you get sweep work? And I know there's going to be some people that say, oh, you're being insensitive, but you know what? That's my fucking opinion. That is my opinion. Me personally, I think asking other people for money is just so fucking sad, especially if you're a man, right? Because I believe that men need to be providers, right? I believe that we continuously need to go after goals. Now, I know that there's other factors like drugs involved, which keeps them in the street, and that's a cycle. But I mean, I've run into a lot of people that do it out of utter laziness, right? If you can stand in the street, which in my opinion seems like a fuckload more effort to stand in one spot in the burning sun than to go scrubbing toilets. I would fucking scrub toilets all day, right? I would fucking work 3 jobs if I had to. I was in a position where I had to work 3 jobs at one point to get by, to scrape by. So that's my opinion. I know a lot of other people are going to have an opinion, but that's what I believe. Now, anyway, back to the story. So he came over, right? I'm like, fuck, here's another guy that's going to, beg for money. And then he comes and he says, instead, he's like, listen, he's from Malawi. He's just come down. Like, all he's asking, he's begging just for a little bit of work. You know, if he knows anyone that's got work, and he starts telling me a bit about his story and his background. And I'm like, you know what, this I like. Okay, someone coming to me asking to do the work. And I respect that. I love that. Like, I love the grind. And again, not everyone comes out of the same situation. But you see how this is a man coming from a crazy background, and I'm probably gonna get him on video here just the other day because I want to help him out. Like, I like doing that type of shit, right? With people that I feel deserve it. And he's telling me about his story, and you know, it's messed up. Okay, a lot of us are extremely privileged. A lot of us being able to watch YouTube, are extremely privileged. And the fact that he's coming to strangers from another country into this place, just asking, begging for work, not begging for money, begging for work, anything that he can do, washing cars, painting, gardening, anything like that. He says anything he will learn, he will do, no problem. And I respect that. So I said, okay, I'm gonna take your number down because I did some house renovations, and I said, okay, this is a perfect opportunity. Then end up messaging him. Maybe 2 weeks later, we do the office, we get everything sorted, and you know what he told me? Because the first thing I told him when he came to the park, I took his number down and I said, this is what I'm going to do for you. Because he had been knocking on a bunch of doors and he'd been going around. I told him, do you have access to the internet? He says, yeah. You can go to like a little shop and then you can connect to the internet. And I gave him a couple of books to read, okay, about mindset, belief, and door-to-door sales, right? Because I told him, because he's been going through doors, being rejected. I said, just learn a little bit about door-to-door sales, just kind of like how you can like maybe approach the door and say, listen, this needs a trimming, X, Y, and Z. That's it. That's some certain things that will just help him maybe get a job quicker. That's how I like helping people, right? You know, you get that saying, you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach a man how to fish, he eats for an entire lifetime. And I'm a big believer in that, okay? And again, with business, if any of you guys run a business, it's the same shit, right? You can get given all of this, but if you don't know what to do, if you haven't been through the trenches, then you won't keep it, right? It's not going to last. It's not going to be lasting. Now, anyway, so after we did all this work together, we had a good fat chat. Unfortunately, his mom passed away as well, whilst doing work here, which was kind of sad. So I gave him 2 days off, came back, did a couple of things. We had a good chat about certain things, and he came to me and said, you know what, Eugene, I never, ever thought, I never believed that I could be, like, that these opportunities could be available to me. Like, I never thought, I'd never believed that. And so many men struggle with that. So many men don't believe that they have the discipline to achieve X, Y, and Z. It's not about discipline. It's about habits. It's about knowledge. It's about repetition, right? So many men believe that they don't have confidence. So many men believe that they aren't ambitious, but that is not true. They just haven't unlocked it yet, and they haven't changed their mindset. Mindset is one of the most important things, guys. This is what took me back in the day, right? I never fully believed that I would ever change, that I would ever become confident, not be shy the rest of my entire life. That was a limiting belief holding me back. In my business, when I started my business first, fuck, if you told me what I'm earning today, back then when I started, I'd be like, you fucking crazy, right? It took a hell of a lot of work. It took a hell of a lot of mindset, right? Because you go through the dips where you, especially building it, where you're like, shit, is this working? Am I taking this risk? I didn't go to university. I didn't do any of that type of stuff, so it was a risk for me. But through all of these things, you developed that mindset, okay? So ambition is the best fuel for a man, I find, right? It's what keeps you going. I've heard so many stories. I mean, we've got family members, like extended family members, who literally died a week after they retired. Like in my family, we are very working men, right? I think I'll probably, even if I retire, I'll continue working on something. That's how I operate, okay? And I feel if a lot of men don't have a purpose, they don't have ambition, they're not working towards something, there's a lot of depression, okay? I know, for example, right, when I had my back operation was probably like 14 weeks ago now, for the whole of 2025, when I couldn't train, I wasn't working toward bodybuilding, I felt lost, I was fucking depressed, okay? I was depressed. I was miserable. I wasn't doing the things that keeps me operating, that keeps me going. And I think that's, businessman, that it's a passion. It drives you, it fuels you, So if you don't have that, I think that's a big reason why a lot of people have depression. I've had guys join the program that say they feel depressed, they feel this, they feel that. Like, okay, but what are you working towards? Are you working towards anything? Like, what new goals have you set out? No, and that's one big reason, because they've heard me talking about it through the content and my own experiences. They said, okay, they want to do it to build a discipline, to build a routine, to have something to work toward. In a couple of months, everything changes, and then the physique goal is just a cherry on top. Okay, the achievement is just a cherry on top, but it's the actual process of doing so. Now, I want to tell you what happens here. Okay, this is why a lot of men, feel shame and guilt. If you're someone that's ambitious, you would have felt guilt multiple times in your life. You would have felt shame multiple times in your life. You would have felt like unsatisfaction multiple times in your life. We've been there. That is how it works. And it only works like that when you don't stick to the things that you need to set out. Now, I told you guys I went to a festival recently. So I'm going to use this festival analogy because there was a stage in my life where I was partying like crazy, 4 to 5 times per week, going out, getting shit-faced, arriving home 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, getting maybe an hour of sleep, going to work. I was working as a personal trainer back then. Terrible, right? But I was lost because I put myself, I always thought I was better. Like I always said, you know what, I've got all of these ambitions, I have all of these goals, but I'm not doing anything toward it. So anytime, and I was broke. I don't know how the hell I had the money. I was literally scraping by at that point. But I remember coming back from a festival. And I think to me it was like, you know, it was a big coping mechanism, was the partying. It was a big distraction for me. I was obviously young. I was like in my 20, 22, 21, somewhere around there. But, you know, it was a shit time of my life. Because I'd always been like ambitious, wanting more and more and more. I set myself to that higher standard. And the reason that I would come back after the nightclubs, the reason that I would come back after a festival and feel super depressed, right? Super shameful, super guilty, is because I wasn't sticking to the things that are going to get me there, right? I wasn't showing up as the man that I want to become. I wasn't training, I wasn't putting in the work, I wasn't studying, I wasn't taking the risk, yet I wanted to be at that point, okay? It's like, you want to get in shape, you're ambitious, you've been training, you've been working, but now let's say, you know what, something's happened, something triggered, like maybe you did some stress eating or some shit, and that week, you got completely off your meal plan. If you're someone who's ambitious and you truly care about your results, you will feel guilt. You will feel shame. You'll look at yourself in the mirror. You'll be like, what the fuck, man? Why did I do this again? Why can't I fix this? Why can't I change this? And that used to be me. After festival, I look at myself in the mirror. I'll be like, dude, you're fucking going nowhere in your life. Like, why do you continue doing that? Until I made that mindset change, and I just went all in, okay? I started believing that I'm going to get there. And as soon as I did that, it changed. And it's the same with my, you know, physique. Like this, and this is the difference. This is the difference. I came back this weekend. I got drunk. I had a freaking fantastic time. One of the best festivals I've had. But I came back super excited for the week. Whereas before I'd be like, oh, I'm going to be hungover. Oh, I'm miserable. Nah, I'm excited. Right, I've done my planning. Everything is planned for the week already. And not just that, this week that's happened now, last week, because it's Monday morning, I ticked all the boxes, right? I stuck to everything I needed to stuck to, my meals. And this weekend, I went completely off plan, right? I ate burgers, I drank alcohol, but you know why I didn't feel guilty? Because I've gone through the process of maximizing my insulin sensitivity. So when I eat shit, which is very seldom because I don't enjoy it, it was just at the festival, that's what they had. When I eat shit, I know that my body's working for me. I know that that food is going to be utilized, okay? So I have no guilt around that. If I go out and I stay up until this time, I go off routine for the weekend, that's okay. Because all of my targets were hit. So as soon as you just stick to those priorities, right? You just tick those boxes. Focus on getting 1% better every single time. If you have guilt, anytime you go on vacation and you eat out and you come back and you get bloaty and you get fat, take 6 months of your life, put in the sacrifice, okay? Tick those boxes and get to the point where you don't go through that anymore, okay? You need to be able to go through that, put in the sacrifice in order to earn that balance at the end of the day. But anyway, that is my 2 a.m. probably now. Yeah, 2 o'clock now. You see, this helped me because I was just in bed, like all of these ideas floating around, and as soon as I put it on the board, I got it out there, so I don't forget it. I do the work, I tick the box, I can go to sleep now. And then tomorrow, my sleeping schedule will probably be back up to date. But cheers guys, I'll see you for the next one.